Luke joining us for Throwback Thursday. This one very timely too. We're talking about D-Day and Camp Grant. I mean, it's amazing when you look back at the history that we have here.
Absolutely. The story of D-Day, obviously we all know, 80 years ago today. And the story for Rockford's sake, it has to do with Camp Grant and one unit in particular, the 745th Tank Battalion, that was formed in 1942 by taking some officers from other tank battalions, and then the unit was comprised pretty much wholly of recruits from Camp Grant. So they trained there and then moved to England, where they trained a little further before going into D-Day at Omaha Beach.
Tell me about what really our facility had here at Camp Grant to prepare them.
Well, as we know, Camp Grant was opened just at the start of World War I, and then once that was over, it was decommissioned, but then ramped up and greatly expanded for World War II in the area where we now know the airport is, as well as New Milford and the Atwood Forest Preserve. And as it was expanded, over 300,000 troops came through there in World War II. Yes, yeah. It was foundational for Rockford. It was really a big economic boon. All the construction and the troops that stayed there helped support the economy quite a bit here. But today we're remembering the troops that trained there and went to land at D-Day in Normandy. The 745th Tank Battalion was attached to the 1st Infantry Division of the Army, and they stayed together through the remainder of the war. They landed at Omaha Beach and secured the beachhead. They moved away from the beachhead and broke out through the German lines and opened up a breach so that Patton's Third Army could race through and help retake France, moved on to Belgium, a long battle in Aachen, Belgium, and then they, 745th and the 1st Infantry Division, supported the Battle of the Bulge and moved on through Germany. And so about 11 months after they landed, it was VE Day, and the war was over. Some really heroic efforts there. And I do have the names of about a dozen Rockford residents who were part of this battalion, and if we have time, I'd like to read them. They all at least got a Bronze Star, and hopefully they may have some family here who would like to hear their name. Alva Beck, Dennis Rudolph, Thomas Cannell, Charles Carroll, Walter Anderson, Henry Crow, Bernard Stites, Eugene Bost, Fred Sudarth, and George Webster all served in the 745th, and they were Rockford natives as well as Camp Grant trainees.
I love that too, and I love that we're able to say those names again today to remember them as well. What do you have at the museum that really goes back to Camp Grant?
Well, we do have some artifacts on display, but as we've talked about before, we are opening a Camp Grant permanent exhibit, likely coming just around the new year. We're going to be talking a bunch about that, but you know, we also have World War II days coming up at the end of September, where we tell the whole story of the
and it's
war.
So impressive too. I mean, it's really, if you were teaching your kids about it, you get to walk through the reenactors. They really take on their roles.
They do.
Yeah, and they
do.
Will
There's so much equipment. There's tanks. There's over 1,000 reenactors. It really transports the village back to Europe and helps people appreciate the sacrifice and the heroism of those soldiers.
Well, we appreciate you being here today and reading those names as well.